Well, hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Today we've got the pleasure of being joined by Jodie Baker, who is the founder and CEO of Xakia. She joins us today. She's going to talk about what she's trying to do at the moment with the platform and where she's headed in the future. But just to kick us off, Jodie, on the website, Xakia is described as corporate legal operations software. So that's what's on the website. What's your pitch?
Well, corporate legal operations software is right. It's equivalent to, say, a practice management system for law firms, but purpose-built for in-house teams. And the idea of that really is that we want to arm the in-house teams, and particularly the lawyers and the GCs, with the ability to have improved visibility across the team about who is doing what and for whom. Really, that visibility is lacking at the moment, and by arming them with a very, very simple tool, what we want to do is automate a whole lot of things that otherwise might be quite manual in terms of creating to-do lists or creating manual Word documents or Excel spreadsheets to report to each other about what they're working on.
Yeah, nice. Well, we'll definitely get into the nuts and bolts on what Xakia actually does, but maybe just stepping back a little bit, you also founded a law firm not that long ago, so a new law firm called Hive Legal, and I guess you weren't quite, I don't know, is that not enough of a challenge for you? Like, step us back. What tempted you to go from setting up a new business, a law firm, and then getting into the technology business?
So in late 2015, we ran a research project, or I ran a research project whilst I was at Hive, and the idea of that project was really just to speak to as many GCs as we could to understand what tools were missing from their suite of products. Really, the research project involved one question, which was what irks you the most in your job? What are the biggest time wasters? Yep. The answer was pretty consistent, and that is that I have to do manual reporting, yep, that I don't really know what my team is working on, that when somebody leaves, I don't know how I capture all of that IP. So those answers were really the genesis of starting to put together a project. And we put together a little prototype while we were at Hive, had some clients on that prototype, had a great response to it, but it didn't really belong inside a law firm, and it needed to attract a little bit more funding to be built properly, so we spun it out, and Hive was up and running and still going strong. Yep. But this was the next project. I do like a new project.
Yeah, and when was that?
So the spin out was on the 1st of July last year.
1st of July last
2016.
year. Okay, so getting towards about 18 months into it.
Mm-hmm, yes.
And how's it all going?
Well, it's just over a year since we launched the software in, yep, its current form, so it's going really well. We launched it at the ACC conference in Australia, mm-hmm, in November 2016. Yep. So just on a year now, and we have about 25 to 30 clients on the system, both here and in the US, and also one in Singapore.
Great.
Which is fantastic. Yep. The take-up has been really good. It's busy.
Well, 25 clients, are you able to say which clients are currently using you at the moment?
Yeah, so there's some testimonials on our website,
uh-huh,
and I think the testimonials will show Virgin Australia,
okay,
Boral, Transurban, Focus.
Yep.
I think that there's about eight testimonials on there.
So I guess big end of town mostly.
Yeah. So our smallest client actually was a one-person legal team, yep, who I spoke to last week and was telling me about how it had been a lifesaver for her, yeah, and wow, given her a little bit more order and control over what she was doing. But she's now got responsibility for more people, and so, yep, that one person has turned into 4 people, yep, but still our smallest team on the system, and we have teams right up to 50, and speaking to teams much larger than that.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And what were those teams using prior to Xakia? Like, what are they using at the moment, and why is Xakia better?
So we do say that our greatest competitor is the Excel spreadsheet, yep, which is a fairly typical tool for most teams to understand what they're doing and creating any sort of data analytics. Of course, it becomes quite manual after you capture the information, and even the capturing can be quite manual in terms of drawing that data into charts, tables, any sort of digestible format. One of my quick quips, I guess, is that I used to be a lawyer, but I became a financial analyst, and I'm married to a CFO. Right. And I do understand. Well, I understand that lawyers talk in beautiful words, but the rest of the world talks in charts and numbers. Yeah, and so, an Excel spreadsheet is fine, but if you don't know how to manipulate the data to get what you need, sometimes it can be a little bit cumbersome and even painful. So, Excel spreadsheet is really what people are using at the moment, and more often than not, nothing, to be honest.
Okay. Can you talk us through, I guess, a use case, a typical use case of how an in-house lawyer might take a matter right through your platform from where to go?
So the initial screen that we use is just a very quick data capture around name of the matter, who is working on it, who it's for, and what sort of work it is. Once you've captured that information, that then filters through to a matters list. So that creates the visibility piece, which can be sorted and filtered and exported however you like. That visibility piece is really the first benefit out of the system. Once all of that data has been captured and you can then maintain the matters from that matters list in terms of status updates and what have you, it then feeds through to beautiful dashboards and reports. And actually, now that most of our clients have been on the system for 6 months or more, we're now at the point where we're wandering around. I've just been off to see one of my clients just before our discussion and showing them some of the reporting functionality, and the eyes pop when they realise that instead of spending a day generating the reports each month, they can click a button.
Cool.
So that's the nice piece that comes out the end.
Well, speaking of spending, how much are teams paying for your software?
Yes, so it's a SaaS product, so software as a service, which means that you pay on a per user per month basis. $55 per user per month, and that then scales up to $88 per user per month, where people want to use it for external fee management and also for our Xakia function, which is going to be released next week.
Xakia. Can you talk us through what Xakia is going to be?
Xakia is a play on the word triage, and it's essentially it's a ticketing system, so it's the ability for the business to send instructions to the legal team through this portal, which obviously then creates a matter. It can then be put into a bucket for all of the lawyers to pick up those matters, or it can be directed to a specific matter. Yeah,
great. Okay, well, I mean, that relates to, I've spoken to a couple of in-house lawyers that use Jira, which is a ticketing system. So it looks like you've got this product coming in to take care of the ticketing process.
Yes, absolutely. And certainly one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we have had has been that's a big hole for a lot of lawyers, is that they just receive things into their inbox and that can be random in terms of it might come to you, or it might come to me, or it might come to somebody else, and then that has to be moved around. But there's some in-house teams have a document repository, some have nothing. Then there's no record of that, there's no workflow. So it's very important that you've got some sense of where the business goes, how that then flows through to the lawyers, and then how those data analytics are captured.
Yeah, good. And can we talk a few numbers, if that's okay? I mean, let me know if it's too sensitive, but look, in terms of, I guess, funding, staff, you've talked about how many clients you've got at the moment, so about 25 or so you mentioned. How are you going with funding? Are you bootstrapping? Profitable?
Bit of everything. So the funding was originally 5 shareholders. We've since taken on a 6th shareholder, relatively bootstrapped for the first 12 months. And then we've taken another round of funding from our newest shareholder and the existing shareholders, which has allowed us to keep going and keep growing. Cool. Because we are generating revenue and we have got quite a good client take-up, that has allowed us to grow quite well. We're just about to do another round, and again, mostly just from our existing shareholders and a few others who are expressing interest in perhaps strategic shareholders.
And is that funding going into more of a product build, or expanding the team? Or I guess my next topic was going to be your US expansion, which is, I guess, just happened?
So there's 2 things that we want to spend the money on at the moment. One is development. We've got a very full pipeline or roadmap of things that we want to do. So we're very focused on that. Brett Graves is our development manager, and he's got a very clear sense of where he wants to take the development team. So that's a core focus for us. And then sales and marketing, and so actually spreading the word and making sure that we're touching on all of the right people and places in terms of our message, and making sure that people understand that this is a tool that is built for smaller teams as well as larger teams. And that's obviously a different type of marketing to legal technologies in the past have been very sales oriented, because they target the big teams, whereas we have built something that we feel passionately should be available to all teams. And so we have a very different sales and marketing strategy. So we would like to build out people with the expertise in digital marketing and sales processes for that sort of audience. Yeah, awesome. And then US? And then the US, yes. And so we launched in the US at the ACC conference in Washington, DC in October. And Post is our Senior VP for USA. Right. And she is based in the US, and so she has spent the last 4 or 5 months getting herself up to speed with Xakia and getting that all ready to go and launched there. We've got just on 10 clients there, I think, now.
Yeah, great.
So it's expanding quite quickly.
Fantastic.
And yeah, we had a great take-up from the ACC conference and another, about 20 or so who are certainly interested in going through the process of investigating.
United Kingdom next?
Possibly. I would like to get a little bit more sleep before we think about that strategy.
2 time zones is enough for now.
That might be enough for now. Two startups in 5 years and 2 time zones might be about as much as I can manage in that time frame.
Great. Oh, look, amazing to talk to you, and congratulations on the great success you've had. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll come through with more updates from time to time about some amazing tech entrepreneurs, particularly in the legal space. Lots of things happening. So thanks again. We'll speak to you soon.
Cool. Done. Excellent.